Hey, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is a Rolex Certified Pre-Owned GMT-Master, reference 16700. This is a model that was the last of the original GMT Masters, made from about 1988 to 1999. The example in my hand is a serial code L, so approximately 1989, so 1 year into the adventure with the 16700. The model also features a 78360 bracelet on 501B end links, and the clasp has a P code, so P indicating 1991, so in terms of era, it all matches up nicely. Of course, the original GMT Master from the 1950s was a single time zone watch that had a mechanically linked 24 and 12-hour hand that could not be set separately, but if set to Greenwich Mean Time, would allow you to use the GMT bezel to calculate that second time zone. So we'll go through that in a moment. This is a watch that does feature a 40mm case and modern sapphire crystal. So while it's a little bit of a historical oddball, as the last of the GMT Masters, it does wear and run like a fairly contemporary Rolex watch. One of the nice features about the original GMT Master is that it is thinner. In 904L steel, only 11.5 millimeters thick, and then from lug tip to lug tip, you can see 47.6 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. I'll throw this watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, take off my glove just for a moment so you can actually see the wrist. Now you can see that it wears nicely. Because we are talking about pivoted end links here, the watch's actual distance across the wrist is the actual lug-to-lug dimension. So you can see 47.6 is the distance across the wrist, making this a great option for smaller wrists. Also, women who want to wear a larger watch will find that this is a good match. I believe you could wear this watch well on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. And being thinner than the true dual-time GMT Master 2s, it will fit better underneath the dress cuff. It's got a lovely and unmistakable iconic aesthetic on the wrist. All right. The glove is back, and so is my left hand. All right, a quick note about these bracelets. These are pivoted end link and hollow center links. They have a little bit of a different feel and a sound to them. This is the historic Rolex rattle. The watch is 904L steel, so it has the same quality as a modern steel Rolex watch in that it will not be particularly vulnerable to oxidation or tarnish after contact with sweat or sea salt. 316 steel can still rust. That's stainless steel, but it's not immaculate stainless steel. This is much more resilient against harsh salts and certain kinds of industrial acid. Now, just like a modern oyster bracelet, the removable links are fixed in place using screws, so you can use your jeweler's screwdriver to size this. We also have a number of pairs of divots inside the clasp, so you can dismount the spring bar, change the anchoring point, and size this one precisely. We have a nice crisp 5-point Rolex coronet raised in relief, and you can see this is an excellently preserved clasp. I promised you a clasp code, and I'm going to show you that now. You could see that we've got a 78360 and that it is a P series, so roughly 1991. Condition is excellent. And it is a simple snap-shut clasp, so once all is removed from the path of the clasp, it snaps shut just like so. Rolling around to the case, we have a twin lock crown in steel, 100-meter water-resistant watch with a oyster-style caseback screw-down crown. Of course, you know it's a twin lock in steel because it has that distinctive little slash below the crown. Of course, this is sort of a transitional era of Rolex, and this is a certified pre-owned watch. It is not a watch that has been polished down to a toothpick, so you will see little marks of wear in cases where it was considered preferable to simply save the historic fabric, namely the volume of metal. Of course, back in the late 1980s, Rolex still imagined that our GMT Master owners might be using strap tools to pop out the bracelet and fit straps, and so that's why I have strap tool holes. You can also see we have evidence of the original factory bevels still clear on the flanks of the lugs here. Taking a look at the bezel, you can see it's a combination of satin and polish. Bi-directional rotating, it features the famous AM/PM blue and red, colloquially known as Pepsi. Of course, it's an anodized aluminum bezel, and that gives it a distinct vintage shine. The way this works is, theoretically, back in the 1950s, when the GMT Master first debuted, a pilot for Pan Am Airlines, which was the original customer, would set his watch to Greenwich Mean Time. So his master time would be Greenwich. Now you're looking at a 12-hour hand and you're looking at a 24-hour hand. So you can see one is pointed at 8, one is pointed at 1600, so 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. That's what you're looking at right there. Now, the interesting thing here is that the watch, of course, is designed such that if we start offsetting from Greenwich Mean Time, if we're going to GMT plus, you turn counterclockwise. So from Greenwich Mean Time at 1600, let's say it's now GMT plus 4, we're going to look at 10 o'clock at night. Now let's go back to where we were a moment ago. Now keep in mind, while it appears that the 12-hour hand is set to 8 a.m., it's really keyed to this 24-hour hand. So this 24-hour hand and the 12-hour hand will hit 12 at the same time, and I'll show you how that works. But let's say we're going to a destination airport that is GMT minus. Now, let's say it's GMT minus 4. I'm going to turn in a clockwise direction instead of counterclockwise, and I'm going to line up the 12 with the 24-hour hand. Now I can see it is noon at our destination airport. So again, GMT plus, you turn counterclockwise. GMT minus, you turn clockwise, and you always read the destination time off the 24-hour hand. Now, a little note about these GMT Masters. These late GMT Masters feature the convenience of a quick set, a feature you will not find on a conventional GMT Master 2. So this is something a little bit unfamiliar for consumers of modern GMTs, but it does have a traditional quick set separate from the hour hand. Now I have hacking seconds as well. Watch as I advance everything. Remember, I promised you those two hands would hit 12 at the same time because they're both going to indicate midnight. There you go. The 12-hour and the 24-hour coincide, and the 12-hour hand races away. Now, what's fascinating about this dial is that the dial base is original. So it's the original black lacquer base with white gold indices, and you can see they have developed an astonishing cream patina. You get close, you can see that it's fairly even, though there's a little bit of modeling across each individual index. A patina like this kind of goes by its own rules and proceeds at its own pace. This was not calculated. This is the effect of age, and so the look is almost pumpkin-like. Now, the hands at center have been replaced. Sometimes Rolex will do this during service if the hands no longer have the integrity to stay put in their station on the pinions. So we'll do a loom shot, and you can see, true to my word, the dial base is dead as a doornail, and also all four hands are luminescent. So you've got stop seconds, you've got a traditional quick set, and then you have a 12 and a 24-hour hand coupled together. This is the caliber 3175. It's inside. It's a bidirectional automatic winder, 48-hour power reserve, hacking quick set, 12 and 24-hour coordinated hands, full balance bridge, free sprung balance for shock resistance, overcoil hairspring architecture for isochronous operation in any physical orientation, 31 joules, 4 hertz. Again, COSC certified movement, so the movement would have been tested in 5 positions to temperatures, isochronism over 2 weeks. And then this is a timepiece that is the last of the original GMT Masters. Again, 48-hour power reserve and a jeweled staff winding system, which is probably the quietest and smoothest automatic winding system ever devised. Lots to love, and hard to find another one with a dial like this. So reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Rolex Certified Pre-Owned watches are backed and authenticated by Rolex. Should any reconditioning be necessary, it will be to a Rolex Certified standard, and any parts invested, Rolex Factory Original. Should the initial retail box, paper, and accessory set still accompany the watch, it will be included with the sale. But no matter what, a certified pre-owned box and paper set starts with an outer box, a leatherette travel pouch with suede lining, a warranty card that embodies the 2-year globally valid Rolex-backed warranty. Note, this is not a retail warranty, but backed by Rolex and actionable at any of its authorized points of sales and service. A leatherette wallet includes the warranty terms and conditions manual. A holographic hang tag marks this as a certified pre-owned Rolex watch, and a manual details Rolex's values as a company. The certified pre-owned program, care, feeding, service, and use of your Rolex, locations of points of sales and service, and details of Rolex.com. Rolex certified pre-owned watches are backed only by Rolex.